Esports, or competitive video games, have been steadily growing throughout the 21st century, with some international competitions drawing viewership that rivals those of the MLB's World Series or even the Olympics. From first-person shooters to multiplayer online battle arenas to resource management games and deck-building games, there's something for every gamer out there to tune into or compete in. Just as Americans turn on the NBA to see the feats of some of the greatest athletes of our generation perform, esports fans across the globe are demonstrating with their viewership, voices, and wallets that there's a market for video game competitions to continue to flourish as well. But even despite this growth, people are being left behind. Though it's estimated that about 50% of gamers are women, female and other marginalized gender video gamers are extremely underrepresented in Major League Esports competitions regardless of the title. While not necessarily barred from competition in rules or legislation of any kind, this is largely a product of a worldwide gaming culture that suppresses female interest in video games and keeps them from performing at the level of their male counterparts due to rampant in-game misogyny and other outside gender expectations. Not to mention, a lack of representation sets a cycle in motion. With nobody who looks like them up on stage, what's motivating girls to continue to go forward, especially when it seems like everybody wants you to fail? With that in mind, let's take a look at some of the women who, despite the odds stacked against them, have already carved out a niche in the international world of video games through their unique perspectives, world-class talent, and perseverance. If you can't tell from the other videos on my channel, or the clips that I've decided to use in this video's first minute and 30 seconds, I have a soft spot for VALORANT esports. And so naturally I'm starting with Christine Potter-Chi, former Counter-Strike pro, broadcast analyst, and current head coach of the EvilGeniuus' VALORANT team, who happen to be the reigning global champions. Potter has long been a leading force in the international first-person shooter scene, having won 7 Women's Electronic Sports Cups in Counter-Strike before transitioning to a career in broadcasting. Later, in 2021, she made history by being signed to the first co-ed VALORANT team, where she served as captain, only to further shatter the glass ceiling in 2022 by being named the only female head coach of a franchised VALORANT roster. That same roster would then go on to win the entire VALORANT Champions Tour and take home a prize of $1 million. And later on that year, Potter would go on to win the Gaming Awards Esports Coach of the Year award. But Potter doesn't care about being the only woman in a field of men. In fact, she's mentioned numerous times that she doesn't even think about it. She's just there to compete. When asked once by Nerd Street how she felt about being the only female coach in the franchised FPS scene, she replied, quote, "I don't realize it until somebody brings it up to me." For instance, after we won that series at Lock-In, I saw the tweet where it said the first woman to win an international series or whatever. So those aren't things that I'm considering or thinking about. I guess I'm just reminded of it because of outside factors. So it's really cool, but it's definitely not my motivating factor. Even when VALORANT reporters were calling for her to be fired or discrediting her achievements, Potter and the rest of the 2023 EvilGeniuus' roster closed out their season with wins when it mattered most. She's an inspiration not just to women in the esports space, but to anybody hoping to win international titles or make it far in the first-person shooter scene. Xiaoming VKLiooon Lee, named by esports.gg as one of the most influential Hearthstone players of all time, became the first ever woman to win the Hearthstone Grandmasters Global Finals and the only woman to ever win a BlizzCon Global Championship when she beat out Luna Bloodyface Eason in 2019. "As long as you want to play well you can, no matter what gender you have," she said after her victory. "Girls can be strong pro players, just like guys." Lee's victory comes from a lifetime of discrimination in the competitive Hearthstone scene. She claims that, while waiting in line at one of her earlier tournaments, a man told her that she didn't belong at the event. A few months later, a professional team rejected her and signed an opponent she'd beaten in her stead. "Sex discrimination is common because male players tend to view you as less competitive," she said once about these experiences, which was likewise shown in the live Twitch chats of her matches, which were filled with viewers from across the globe claiming her games to be rigged. But Lee feels strongly that her win will only be one of many international titles won by women as the esports scene continues to grow. "More and more girls will become esports winners," she said on Twitter, responding to one of her critics. "Get used to it." You can't talk about women in esports without mentioning Shopify Rebellion's Sasha Scarlethustin, a Canadian StarCraft player who made history as the first woman to win a major StarCraft 2 tournament and currently tops esportsearnings.com's chart for highest earning female players with nearly $500,000 worth of prize money to her name. Austin has been active in the scene since 2011 and boasts numerous international successes, including the first prize at the 2018 Intel Extreme Masters tournament held in the lead-up to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. The New Yorker named her the most accomplished woman in esports that year, and in 2022, Forbes named her in their 30 under 30 for the gaming industry due to her position as one of the best StarCraft players in North America. As a transgender woman, controversy over her gender identity has followed her since even before her international titles, when she competed in female-only events like the Iron Lady tournaments. It is true that I am male to female transgender, and I kinda expected this reaction. I have never tried to bring attention to myself for anything other than my play, so I don't feel like this should be a big deal, she once wrote. In another interview, she echoed the belief of many female esports professionals that her gender was completely separate from how she played. I have always tried to make it a complete non-issue, she once wrote. In recent years, Scarlett continues to be ranked among the best StarCraft players in the world. Sjokz, the current host of the League of Legends European Championship, has hosted and casted many of the highest watched esports tournaments in the world, including the 2015 and 2019 League of Legends World Championships. In 2018, 2019, and 2020, the Game Awards named her as their best esports host, and in 2020 she won the Esports Award Esports Host of the Year and was nominated for Esports Personality of the Year. Sjokz has also been outspoken about how her success as a woman in the esports scene is extremely important in demonstrating to other women and girls that it's possible to go far in the industry, even as more than half of female players report experiencing harassment online. There's myriad reasons why it's not always easy for women to break through, she says. Representation is extremely important. If you're never going to see anyone like you on the big stage, why would you ever dream you could be able to? In recent years, Sjokz has transitioned from strictly casting and hosting league events to freelance work as an interviewer and desk host for Counter-Strike, which she calls her first love, but she still remains a beloved icon in the League of Legends scene. Geguri, the first female professional Overwatch player, had such good aim that two of her male opponents claimed she was cheating. To prove her innocence, she live-streamed a game from a monitored studio and received confirmation from Blizzard itself that she did not use any kind of aim assisting software. In response, the two accusers, Alta and Strobe from Team Dizziness, dropped out of the competitive scene. Since then, Geguri, then only 16 years old, has been signed to numerous professional teams, including the Overwatch League's Shanghai Dragons. In 2019, Time magazine named her one of its yearly Next Generation leaders due to her success in the international esports world. But like many other women in the esports scene, Geguri doesn't want to worry about representing her entire gender every time she logs on. When asked the forbidden question, "What does it feel like to be the first woman to play in the Overwatch League?" at a Shanghai Dragons press conference, her response was simply, "I just want to play Overwatch." Magi Sullivan made waves in the fighting game community by becoming the first woman to make it into Super Smash Bros. Melee global rankings. Though she has been the uncontested best player in the state of Louisiana for almost 6 full years, it wasn't until 2018 that she landed a spot among the top 100 players in the world. And now, in 2024, she has climbed the ranks to 17th internationally, been signed to numerous content organizations, and won approximately $15,000 worth of prize money. Melee, considered by many as the most competitively viable game in the entire Super Smash Bros. Franchise, sets itself apart from other esports scenes due to its grassroots and community-driven organization. Compared to other fighting games like Street Fighter, which sees events sponsored by Capcom, Nintendo rarely acknowledges the existence of professional Smash events beyond the occasional cease and desist. But that hasn't stopped the community from growing, and it's this community that Magi, a transgender woman, credits to giving her a space to comfortably express herself. As a newer player, I did struggle with the idea that maybe I wouldn't be able to be successful in the community due to the lack of other trans players in the scene at the time, she said. I thought it was maybe an indication that you can't find success in the scene as a trans player. But looking at other transgender women successful in the esports scene, like Street Fighter's Ricky Ortiz or StarCraft player Sasha Scarlethustin, helped change her perspective. I do strive to inspire hope in others, so I think I try my best to act as a good role model to the people who see me as one.
Everybody loves Magi!
Nimi AEvilCat Wormkrantz is one of the most well-known casters in the Valorant community, having lent her voice and analytical prowess to tournaments from the Valorant Champions Storm main series to show matches to Twitch rivals. The 2023 Esports Award winner for Esports Deck Analyst of the Year started casting at age 18 and worked almost 100 events in her first year, so it's no surprise that many casters and analysts in the esports world have nothing but high praise for her. One caster, Upmind, put it best when he called her a trailblazer as one of the few majorly successful women in the tactical FPS casting scene. In a digital environment dominated by men, not just on esports teams themselves, but also in Twitch chats, audiences, and on caster desks, Mimi's success and her seemingly guaranteed presence on the Valorant Champions Tour desk proves to fans of the game, which has the largest prize pool for female esports professionals by far, that passion and determination in the esports scene can pay off regardless of gender. Genius's HelloKittyRicki Ortiz is well known amongst the fighting game scene for her high-ranking finishes in Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom tournaments, which she has consistently partaken in since the early 2000s. Notable placements include numerous top 8s at the EVO Championship Series for Street Fighter 3, a second place finish at EVO 2010 for Super Street Fighter 4, and a second place finish at the 2016 Capcom Pro Tour circuit that netted her $60,000 in prize money. As a transgender woman, Ortiz, despite her decorated history in the fighting game community, says that she's had to deal with consistent harassment as a result of her gender identity. "I feel the brunt of it now presenting as female," she once said in an interview. "My skill takes a back seat." Though Ortiz briefly stepped away from the competitive scene after Street Fighter V nerfed her main, Chun-Li, she told Esports Illustrated in October 2023 that she hopes Street Fighter VI will be the new highest point of her career. "My hopes and goals are to just keep thriving as a competitive player, and to just try to be a voice for people like myself as a trans individual, and just let people know that you can be someone like me and still be great at fighting games." Even though Fortnite is one of the largest games in the world, with an estimated 35% female player base, the 2019 Fortnite World Cup, which boasted both an audience of more than 20,000 people in-house and over $30 million worth of prize money, had no women among the 200 competitors. In wake of this, esports org Genji signed the first all-female Fortnite team, which featured TINARAES Perez, a 10-year Call of Duty veteran who had found success with her duo Madi Soon at Epic Games' Fall Skirmish series. Later, at TwitchCon's Fortnite Showdown, TINARAES and her trio teammates Pika and Rooks would go on to win the top prize and over $100,000, with Tina being voted MVP of the entire tournament. Tina hopes to be the female role model she never had growing up in the esports scene, and she's already seen massive success, both as a signed member of Team Bumble, a Twitch Rivals MVP, and as one of the highest earning female esports players of all time. "I want as many girls to compete as possible. We're all given the same opportunity for this, and I want everyone to capitalize on it. Part of the reason they don't is that women are afraid that they'll do bad, or don't feel like they're skilled enough, or that they'll be harassed. That's what we want to change." Called the Queen of Dota 2, Yoran Vanderhaar is most widely known for her work as a host in the Dota Dream League, and her work as an interviewer, panelist, caster, and commentator at Dota Major Championships and the International, a Valve-sponsored tournament. Recently, the Gucci Gaming Academy released an episode of their GG Legends docuseries highlighting Sheever's accomplishments as an esports broadcaster despite a number of hardships in her wake, including sexism and a cancer diagnosis. The community, they did not like my voice. They didn't like my game knowledge. They did not like my pronunciation of things. They did not like the way I looked. They basically could find faults in anything I did, as she said. Though she wasn't invited to any of the Dota Pro Circuit productions in 2023, Sheever was still nominated for Esports Host of the Year at the 2023 Esports Awards and has been building up a considerable community live streaming on Twitch. It might seem counterintuitive to give the women on this list special attention just because of their gender, especially given how many of them have outright said that they just want to game instead of becoming some massive feminist icon. But in an industry so dominated by men, when female accomplishment is met with vitriol, cheating accusations, and unjust criticism, my goal in creating this video was to showcase what these 10 women have managed to achieve in spite of everything else. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how 50% of all gamers are estimated to be women, a figure that hardly compares to the numbers of women involved in the professional gaming industry. One of the ways that we're going to get this number up is by showing girls, even if it's on a YouTube channel with 500 subscribers, that it is possible, despite all odds, to succeed in this business. Representation, studies have shown, matters not only for increasing target groups' self-esteem, but also in eliminating stereotypes. So while many of these women just want to game, For people like me who want to see more women competing alongside them, I'm going to use what limited platform I have to put their accomplishments, points of view, and voices on a pedestal. At the end of the day, I love esports because I love video games and I love competing. Seeing people who look like me, who have faced the same struggles I have in online spaces and come out with sponsorships, followings, and trophies, is the reason why I bother to keep watching. Even when the Twitch chats have to be turned emote only when female casters come on or when a woman dares to speak in a ranked game. We have a long way to go before women are even seen as men's equals in the world of traditional sports. So any victory I can find, I'm going to highlight. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something or found a new favorite player or caster. I respect each of these women so much and had an absolute blast researching their endless accomplishments. This is one of a few videos that I plan on releasing in relation to a major final project on women in the esports industry. So I'd appreciate any and all feedback you feel like giving either in the comments or on my social pages. Goodbye!